Do it. So, wanted to just kind of give a shout out real quick to all my followers and everybody out there. Talk about unity, because it seems like we're living through this massive time of disunity, right? And it's, what's the one word that you don't hear about out there? And it's the word unity. And so this is me just trying to inject some energy into the world that's about union. That's about uniting. That's about uniting behind common cause. That's about uniting behind common goals, common morals. Right? We're seeing anger, a lot of anger out there. And anger is a valid emotion. All right? Anger is a valid emotion, right? And humans are emotional beings. There's no human that is not emotional, right? But they say you can't control your emotions. And yeah, I mean, you can. It takes a lot of mental discipline and emotional discipline. You can do it, but emotions are naturally occurring. Generally speaking, emotions are naturally occurring. And when I've gone through any psychological work or psychological training, that's one thing that I always talk about. But at the same time, you are in control of how you react to those emotions, right? So even though you feel many different things all at once, and sometimes those feelings might become overwhelming, absolutely overwhelming, it's still up to you to decide how you do that. And this is what determines your character. Right now, I see someone in the comments just said actions determine character. Because in order to move forward in life, you're going to be judged on your actions. You're always going to be judged on your actions. And your actions also show where your character lies. And so when you are faced with that, you have to understand that when you get emotional, you're judged by your actions, right? And then you can turn around and say, oh, well, I was mad. And it's become very trendy in America, I've noticed. And I'll be critical of Americans sometimes, because I'll be critical of modern culture, right? And this is modern culture in America. Because there's this idea that it's okay to turn around and just say, oh, I'm sorry, I was upset. Or, oh, I'm sorry, I said that, I was hangry. Isn't that the new thing? Is people talking about being hangry? And they say, oh, I was hangry, and that justifies anything I was doing. Or, oh, well, you made me mad. So that that justifies what I did in response, right? Or you turn around and say, oh, well, I had to respond that way because you made me so upset, right? And I'm just talking about interpersonally. Or, oh, I haven't had my coffee yet. That's a good one. What are some of the other excuses you guys have heard? Let me look in the chat. I'm reading comments. But someone just said, oh, I'm sorry, I haven't had my coffee yet. So I'm going to snap on you, right? And we got trolls in the chat, so we got some of that. But you can decide what to do. You can decide to open up a Bible and read in there. You can decide, oh, I had too much to drink. That's my mom. She had that example out of a, something. Oh, that's just my temper. Oh, that's just my Irish temper. That's just my Polish temper. That's how I was raised. I've had a bad day. Well, how many people do you think have bad days from time to time? How many people do you think have, bad days, or have a temper, or don't get their coffee, or they haven't slept enough? What percentage of people? That's 100%. That's 100%. That's 100%. And even if somebody caused you to feel a certain way, or somebody did something or said something that caused you to feel a certain way, it caused a certain emotion to rise up inside of you, all right, you have to understand that emotion is something that you can name, you can label, and then dissociate your actions from. You can dissociate your actions from your emotions, right? Think about that. You can dissociate your actions from emotions, because you can start to think, I'm feeling very frustrated right now, or I'm feeling very annoyed right now. And then the minute you tell yourself that through self-talk, that immediately starts the process of how you respond to that emotion and how you then decide to respond to that emotion, because you're creating a positive system of assessing your own emotion and assessing your own self and deciding your options on how to respond to that. So let me give you an example, a personal example. And I've tweeted about this before, but I don't know how much I've talked about it. So I have something called misophonia, right? And this is a new thing. They're not sure how many people have it. There's some new studies about it that are coming out constantly. But what misophonia is, essentially, it means that certain sounds and certain noises will just drive you absolutely insane. But other sounds won't, right? So chewing sounds is the classic, right? Chewing sounds is the classic. Funny enough, though, nails on a chalkboard doesn't even bother me at all. Doesn't even bother me at all. But yeah, for me, chewing noises, slurping noises, anybody eating loudly without any, and especially if there's no like filter, or there's no muffler in terms of like, music on, or a fan, white noise, anything like that on the background. If I don't have something like that, it gets pretty rough for me. And the emotions that I feel when I feel it coming on are actually anger and rage, in many cases, and in other cases, just absolute like you see white, right? You're just seeing white, that white anger, right? When you have you said that you're seeing red, but then seeing white is like the next level. And so, and yeah, someone just said 0 to 100 in an instant. And I see some people mentioning it in the comments that they've had the similar issues. And so, how do I respond to that, right? How do I respond to that when I've got a wife, I've got a family, I want to treat them with respect. I want to show them how much I love them. I want to show how much my wife, obviously I love my wife. And so what I'll do is I'll make sure that the first thing I do, I take a deep breath. I'm like, right? Yeah, your anxiety goes way up, way up. So you take a really, really deep breath in, boom, all the way out, all the way out. then I'll think, okay, can I put some music on? Can I put on some white noise? Can I turn a fan on or something like that? And exhale very slowly, very, very slowly. Inhale. Very, very slow exhale. Very slow exhale, right? And so, but other times, it's rough. So for mornings when I've just woken up, or even if it's, I've been up for a little bit, mornings it's always worse for me. And so what I've noticed that works for me is typically we don't eat breakfast together, even when even on a morning when I'm not rushing to the studio. We'll actually just eat separately. We'll just eat separately, and sometimes you kind of just got to walk away. But the key is that even though I'm experiencing that anger and anxiety, I don't lash out. I don't act on that anger, because I know that none of this is intentional, that this is a thing with me, So funny enough, someone just said, how long have I had it my whole life? Someone mentioned, what about your son, right? What about your kid? Doesn't bother me at all. My kid, my dog, when they're eating, doesn't bother me at all. And so it's something, I don't know, it's something to do with like adults. It's something only when it's adults that do it. And so, essentially what works really, really well for me is just in those moments, you just walk into another room. You just walk into the other room and you say, hey, I'm just gonna go eat over here. And then when you're done, by the way, you kind of explain. And at some point you have to explain to your family when you're not in that moment, when you're not in that emotional state, that you explain the situation. So you when you're not in that emotional state, you can explain it, you can be very calm about it, talk about your feelings, remove yourself from the situation. How long have I had this? Literally as far back as I can remember. When I'm at work, so I do share an office with my colleague Richard Pollack at One American News, who sits over there. He's not here right now though. So sometimes, or if one of the producers over at the desk, so we have the production bay is like right outside my door. So if those guys are eating, hey, throw on the headphones, throw on a podcast, throw on some music, do whatever you got to do. It's funny enough, in a school cafeteria, it actually wasn't that bad, because there was like enough noise going on at any time that it wasn't that big of a deal. Plus we had a jukebox actually in our cafeteria, so we could put music on. And then when I was in boot camp, it was, you're with, easily 200, 300 guys in one room eating at the same time. What's up, Kira? So yeah, definitely, loud enough that it just kind of drowned. It just drowned it out, right? It just drowned it out. And Navy boot camp, the food was good, by the way. Navy boot camp, right? Navy boot camp, the food was good. So even though they call it Great Lakes, Great Mistakes Recruit Training Command, that's, for any criticism I could have of it, that, I wasn't very critical of my boot camp experience. I thought it was fine. That, I think the food was really, really good. Yeah, Chicago food, what can I say? Funny enough is I've never actually been to the city of Chicago, but that's another story. So when I you know, when I talk about uniting and I talk about uniting as a country, I said, don't try to, you know, whatever political label you put on yourself, whatever, however you identify yourself, you know, we need to get over this tribalism stuff. We need to get over this, like, you know, your group and my group kind of stuff. And so that's why when I'm talking about uniting, I'm talking about just interpersonally, right? Focus on your interpersonal relationships, unite with the people in your life. And I don't just mean the people that you are friends with on the internet and that you agree with in various chat rooms and everything else. I mean just people in your actual life. What about your neighbors? Do you talk to your neighbors? Are you friends with your neighbors? Do you have a sense of community? You know? Start in your own corner of the world. I just saw someone say in the comments. Start with your own corner of the world. Start with your own corner of the world. And then from there you build out. From there you build out. So from there you build out. And so, you know, I've got this platform, and so I'm going to use it to spread positivity, right? Maybe a little lo-fi, jazzy hip-hop lo-fi. And by the way, if I can just say it, for anybody who, because I haven't done a Periscope since we've done this, this is DLT, Take Me With You. Because I haven't done a Periscope since it happened, thank you to everybody who joined in the Memorial Fund for Captain David Dorn. Massive outpouring of support, and way beyond anywhere that we could have predicted. And so, you know, getting the president to come in and support it was really incredible, and we're working with the family to make sure that that everything goes where it needs to go. And so it's currently what I've done is I've the account is staying up on Fundly.com, and then it's going to remain there until until the family decides what they want to do, because it's theirs. It's not mine. It's theirs. It's all theirs. And I've contacted Fundly. I've explained that to them as well. I tell you what my biggest mistake was. My biggest mistake was using my personal email address to set up the account for this. So every single time someone donates now I get an email. So it's we should talk about this. And I see some people mentioning in the comments that the video was actually really painful. And I'm not posting that video. I think it would be inappropriate to post that video. I think it would be just not the way that Captain Dorn's memory deserves to be remembered. This is a guy who, and I've talked to in the past few days, I've had a lot of really late nights on this, and I've talked to a lot of people that worked with him, served with him, knew him, and I can't find a single person in that entire community who would even say a single negative word about him. He was absolutely beloved by his community. Absolutely beloved by his community. How's Jack Jr.? He's great. He's awesome. He's doing so well. And so here's a guy who's just a national role model, an actual role model for America in this time, for any time, really. I mean, just a complete hero for his community, an entire life based around service. And that we could all know someone like that, right? And just really incredible what he was able to do in his life, his long life, the lives that he touched, so many lives, 77 years, and serving for so many of those years. People talked about how he helped people in the community to get out of poverty, that he helped to You know, he was always helping people with whether it was business or whether it was to get into the police department, helping get through the academy, etc. And just very, very beloved, and big family. And I'm just glad that we were able to come together for them in all of this. And the media got the initial reports. If you heard those, the initial reports that he worked at the pawn shop. I don't think that's actually right. It was actually his friend's store. So he was friends with the owner of the shop, and they led a memorial march for him today, which I think was amazing. They held it right there. So it was his friend's store, and whenever there would be an alert, what he would do is he would go and check it out. And so to go at that time of night, knowing that just about an hour. The police shooting that happened, by the way, in St. Louis happened on that same evening, only about an hour before. So when he went out that night, he knew what he was stepping out into, because about an hour before was the police shooting that evening in St. Louis, when 4 police officers were shot. Who were serving, and they were in a tactical situation, and 4 police officers were shot, and then an hour later he was still willing to go out. He was still willing to go out and serve his community and protect his community, and just truly amazing. And so all I did was get the ball rolling, right? Literally all I did was get the ball rolling, and my prayers are for them, and my prayers are for America right now. My prayers are for all of you. And so when I talk about uniting, I'm talking about uniting that sort of thing. I'm talking about uniting around our heroes. I'm talking about uniting behind the true public servants out there, and uniting behind those people who actually serve their communities. And I just think that's the kind of unity. I think that's the kind of unity that we need right now. Right, and I'm not talking politically, right? I'm not talking politically because politics doesn't need to be a combat sport, right? It's whoa, guys, we're all in this together. We're all Americans, all right? We all want the same thing. And I love that video. Did you guys see that video from Herman Munster that was going out today? I'm gonna play it. I'm gonna play it. Did you see that Herman Munster video?
Lesson I want you to learn.
So they pulled up an old clip from the Munster. You remember the Munsters TV show? Do you guys remember that? Hold on. The old Munsters TV show from 1960s. Listen to this. Check this out. Check this out.
The lesson I want you to learn is it doesn't matter what you look like. You can be tall or short, or fat or thin, or ugly, or handsome, like your father. You can be black or yellow or white. It doesn't matter. What does matter is the size of your heart and the strength of your character. The lesson I want you to learn.
There you go, folks. There you go. So there you go. What a beautiful message. And that's the kind of message. That's how I'm going to raise my son. That's how I'm going to raise my son. It's not the color of your skin, it's the content of your character. Right? What a line. One of the phrases, one of the great phrases of America. And that was just a regular sitcom that was shown on TV in the 1960s. And the thing is, it wasn't even known for like social reform, or it's never even been considered a civil rights type show. That's just a regular show, right? That's the type of messaging that America heard in 1965, and this is of course before all of the the fighting between the different sides took place in America. And so it's like, can't we just have a little more of that? Can't we just have a little more of that, folks? Can't we just have a little more of that, right? And I'm gonna say, son, we're Polish, but our neighbor. Well, I'm not gonna tell you, personal details about my neighbors, but we live in a diverse community. We live in a very diverse community, and we say, look, we're proud of our heritage. We're proud of where we come from. We're proud of our background, and now we're here in America, and so of course we have our values, right? But we also have our civic values in America. And it's as simple as that. And it's as simple as that, right? And it's not about anyone being better than anybody else. It's not about anyone, who's on top, who's not on top. It's just about uniting as Americans. It's as simple as that. And so this isn't a political message. This isn't I'm not trying to comment on any news right now. I'm not reporting. I'm just talking. We've got the lo-fi on and we're just talking. And I got the lo-fi on and we're just talking. So anyway, God bless to all of you. God bless to everyone who's out there. Double God bless to everyone who supported Captain David Dorn. Really, really appreciate that. And look, that's the golden rule, right? What's the golden rule? Treat others as you would have them treat you, right? That's your golden rule. That's your golden rule. So that's my message to all you folks. Simple as that. And take note, by the way, take note of the people who don't want to play by those rules. Take note of the people who play into the cancel culture, who play the outrage games, who go in for rage clicks, the people who go in for the anger and the nastiness that's out there, right? Just take note. And just take note. And you can see who's doing that. Who, the people who have those 6 people panels on cable TV where everyone's just yelling at each other, but they never solve anything, right? You have these, and we don't do that at One American News actually, but you have so much of cable TV is just 6 people yelling at each other, but they never solve anything. They say, oh, we debate, but you never have any solutions. You just have anger, right? And that's left and right, right? That's left and right. So and you can go here and get one opinion, and go there and get another opinion, but where do you go to get solutions? Where do you go to find out what's going on, and where do you get the solutions? Where do you find answers? Why does the media focus on that? Why do they want you outraged, right? Start asking these questions. Just start asking these questions. Why do they want you divided? Why do they want you tearing each other apart? Why do they want you so divided? Why don't they want you to have a conversation? And this is key, find the people who can't find forgiveness. Find the people who can't find forgiveness. We don't live in a perfect world, and we are not going to be perfect people because human nature is immutable and man is fallen, right? Human nature is immutable and man is fallen. And so and there is such a thing as original sin, right? And so we're always trying to overcome our human nature. This is Cinnamon and Coffee by Oribo Lorenzo Reggio. I'm just on lo-fi jazzy hip hop on YouTube, right? And so where's, I don't know, it doesn't let me go back. The playlist is at collegemusic.co.uk/lo-fi. So there you go. Here, I'll post the playlist in the under the video here today. It's a Spotify, I think. Anyway, folks, just throwing that out today. I'm gonna head back. I gotta roll. A lot to do. But that's my love to all of you and my call for unity. Simple as that. Call for unity. And shouldn't we unite? We've got a great country here. We actually have the best country in the world right here in America. So let's take care of it. And let's treat America right. And let's treat each other right. Let's treat each other right because we want to treat America right. How does that sound? How does that sound? And this, not a political periscope, not a news periscope, just me talking, just me and you. With some lo-fi. Now we've got J Lounge, When the Sun Hits My Face. Should we do more lo-fi scopes? What do you guys think? You still watching? Still got a lot of people watching. More lo-fi? Do you like the lo-fi? I don't know if it's everyone's, I don't know if it's everyone's thing. I'm seeing a lot of yeses. I'm seeing a lot of yeses here. People seem to be into the lo-fi. I'm just saying. Do you want more lo-fi poso? If you want more lo-fi poso, can we get some lo-fi posos in the chat? Let's get some lo-fi posos up in the chat. It's not chill poso, it's lo-fi poso lounge. That someone said poso lounge. Right, it's just relax and listen to music because music is part of mood, right? Music is what helps you get into that mood. And so music is very persuasive. Music is nonverbal communication, especially when you listen to instrumental music. And so it helps you to regulate your emotional state. Absolutely helps you to regulate your emotional state. Well, I'm seeing it. We're getting lo-fi posos. All right, people like lo-fi poso. Okay. Very positive. And who could be against lo-fi, right? How could you be against lo-fi? How could you be against lo-fi? I don't know. I was like, maybe Poso in his 20s wouldn't have been into lo-fi, but right now, 35-year-old Poso, oh yeah, totally into lo-fi. Yeah, I haven't played the bass on Periscope in a while, so there are people who've been following me. People who follow me may know that I'm a bassist, that I'm a bass player. And I play guitar as well and piano, but bass is really my jam, right? The old 4-string bass. So, yes, bassists are the best, obviously. Everyone knows that the bass is the glue. The bass is the glue of any band. It's the bass player. And if people don't know that, then you don't know anything about music, right? Someone just said Primus. Yeah, Primus is my go-to, right? I've seen Les Claypool over a dozen times. Yeah, Les Claypool is top notch, and Stanley Clarke. So I've even seen Stanley Clarke. I was on stage with Stanley Clarke in Philadelphia. So for any of you bass aficionados, I was on stage with Stanley Clarke all the way back, I think it was 2003 at at the TLA, the Theater of Living Arts in Philadelphia. Yeah, Stanley Clark, Stan the Man. I've seen Victor Wooten as well. Man, I can't even, that double slap he does, that double slap that Victor Wooten does with the, of all the stuff that I've been able to figure out, and I can slap bass, but of all the things that I've been able to figure out is I could never get that double slap that he does. What is that, man? What is that double slap? Yeah, I've seen him with Bella Fleck and the Flecktones, Marcus Miller, Stanley Clark. They used to do a show of, what do they call it? I think they called it SMV, right? And it was Stanley, Marcus, and Victor. And so I went to see that, and that was incredible. It was insane. Absolutely insane. Stanley Clark, Marcus Miller, and Victor Wooten, like, come on. No, I didn't see them. Where did I see them? And they had Jean-Luc Ponty. Jean-Luc Ponty was there. And Jean-Luc Ponty was on the violin, the fiddle. Now, I've never seen Chick Corea. I've never seen Chick Corea. But, where was that? Oh, the Keswick Theater. That's where I saw them. Keswick Theater. I'm trying to think of them. Like Ambler, what's the place called? Keswick Theater. Do I like baby metal? Is baby metal part of do you consider baby metal to be J-pop is a better question. I don't know. I don't think so. Probably not. Yeah, that was with Jean-Luc Ponty and Al Di Meola. Yeah, absolutely. And then, other cool fun fact. Did you know that I am from the same hometown as Jaco Pastorius? So while we're talking about all this, did you know I'm from the same hometown as Jaco Pastorius? So here's what they say is, you know, Jaco Pastorius, Jack Posobiec, obviously that means both from Norristown, Pennsylvania. So obviously what that means is that there's two great JPs out of Norristown, PA. And obviously number one is me, and you know, he was number one, and then I came along. So Jack Posobiec, you know, there was Jaco, and then there was Poso. Just saying, there was Jaco, and then there was Poso. Oh yeah, so there's Jaco and now there's Poso. Anyway, much love to you guys. I really got to get out of here. Get some more lo-fi Poso going. Much love to all of you. God bless. And now the famous phrase. Say it with me now. You know you know what it is. You know what it is. And as always, ladies and gentlemen, you have my permission to lay ashore. Good night, folks.